Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Cast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. We got a Discord server, we got a MeWe group, but really, most activity happens on the Discord server, the Facebook group, comments on these videos, and of course, the podcast. So it's been a while since I've given a good look at the Gygax Memorial Fund. And why is that? Why has it been a while? Because we've been waiting for an update on the taxes, and there has been nothing shared besides a shout out, in 2018, to let somebody know that their pencil or t shirt was shipping. Some horribly asinine statement. So the Gygax Memorial Fund no longer has a website. Gygax Memorial Fund hasn't updated their Facebook page since May 17th, 2018. I'm giving a shout out to Dave. Your t-shirt is on the way. Thanks for supporting Gary's Statue Project. So that's well over 3 years ago. So what's happened in those years, right? Why am I looking at the project? Well, little history. The project hit its high point. Well, the fund hit its high point in funding of just over $222,000 in 2013. There was an auction at Gen Con. There was a sale of the reprints, Wizards of the Coast was doing, the gold foil AD&D 1E reprints of the core books. A portion of those funds were all going to support the Gygax Memorial Fund. Now, when you buy the reprints now as print on demand, last I checked, that statement's still there, but apparently no money's been going toward the fund. Now, why do I say no money's been going toward the fund? Well, in 2018, the fund took in $10. There's 365 days during the year they took in $10. I believe the last tax return, 2019, they raised $110. When you're not selling anything, right, because you're not active on social media, you have no webpage, you're probably not going to be doing much. So 2013, the fund had $22,000. 2018, the fund's expenditures were just over $6,800. It took in 10. In 2019, the last filing, they took in $101. I was off by 9. And they spent nearly $3,100. So right now, the fund that in 2013 was sitting at over $222,000 is now sitting at a hair under $201,000. They've lost $20,000. Now, I've spoken with people that work in the tax industry. I've spoken with people that are accountants, and everyone has asked me a similar question. Why is this fund not earning any money? Even if you had it in, and I've worked this up in the past, and I've had defenders of Yale go, well, these accounts are barely paying any money. If you put it in at 0.5%, they'd be paying $1,000 a year. And guess what? Those $20,000 that the fund has lost would have been half as much, right? About. It would have been earning money. If it was in a money market account, it would be earning even more. So where is this money being stored? I don't know. Now, a couple of years going back, I guess I started covering this pretty heavily in 2015, and Gail promised, oh, well, we're going to do an audit. She promised that, I think, in early 2016. Well, that apparently is also when she changed accountants, and the audit not only never appeared, but then she deleted references to the audit from social media, from Facebook. So we don't know what's happening with this money. However, and I'm not going to make any inferences, But for the first time, if you're looking at the page up here, you're going to see that at no point in the past did anybody that was associated with this fund take compensation. Whether it was Diane Curtis or Michael Curtis, that's Gil's sister and brother-in-law, maybe former brother-in-law, I guess, because Diane is now going by Carpenter for her last name, according to these returns. Alex Gygax, compensation, 0, right? So why is it that in 2019, Paul Stormberg, as vice president, took $2,500 as compensation? Well, Paul Stormberg is the individual who has also been working with the trust. It's the E. Gary Gygax Revocable Trust, I believe is the proper term. If I'm wrong, I'm sure Gail will reach out and tell me why I'm wrong. But they're separate entities, totally separate entities. The fund is a nonprofit. The trust, in theory, is there to make a profit. Paul Stormberg has been cataloging Gary's collection with, I believe, the intent of auctioning it off. That is likely what caused the filing of this disputed will, because it isn't disputed as to what will Gail is operating off of. From my understanding, Gail is not really operating off of a will so much as the fact that it was under the perceived value of Gary's assets. His collection was to be under $50,000 and probably not worth probating. Now, the potential, if you can get the IP from there, involved in an on-demand series from Netflix or Amazon, or have something made into a movie, could be worth millions. And that's likely why we are seeing the legal activity we're seeing around the will. Now, if even at auction, all of a sudden Gary's stuff is worth $100,000, $150,000, again, it's enough to get the rest of the family saying, hey, maybe we need our share. Now, so again, my understanding, Paul is working for the trust. The trust itself, again, from what I understand, isn't making income. The announcement from FIG was back in 2018, and Paul Stormberg was involved in, I believe, Gygax Games also, that was supposed to be coming out with games. And listen, if there were deals made 3 years ago, we should have seen an announcement about something since then. We haven't. I think it's safe to assume that that project is dead in the water. I could be wrong. If so, I will happily be updated. And I will be happy to fall on my sword and say, hey, I made a wrong assumption. I need to be corrected. Something tells me that's not going to happen. So, 2019 tax returns. Now we have a compensation going out to Paul. Now, amazingly enough, Stormberg is getting $2,500 in compensation, but the expenses for the fund is less than half of what it was in 2018. I believe 2018 is when Gail was commissioning the creator of the Fonzie statue to, do a prototype or make sketches, and that all went to shit. So remember, we are in 2021, and these tax returns give you a snapshot, but they are old snapshots. They're as current as we can get, but they are not necessarily current. So, by the way, I'm getting all this from ProPublica.org. It's a great location to go to if you want to look up nonprofits. I advise that you do so. Why do I look at the fund? Because this is your money. This is my money. I bought those reprints, right? So a portion of my funds went toward the Gygax Memorial Fund. And I'd like to know where my money is going. So if we look, 101 in total revenues, 2,500 in salaries, $688 in professional fees, $10 in other expenses, for a total of $31.98. Okay. Like I said, the fund right now is standing at $201,890. Now, I'm going to point out something that I don't think that many others have pointed out in talking about the fund, and I got to go all the way to the end of the paperwork here to get to this. Okay. Explanation. The specific objectives and tactics and purpose of this organization shall be A. To commission and place in a public park in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, a memorial to honor Gary Gygax for his literary achievement in creation of the role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons and other published works. Okay. B. Maintain this memorial in perpetuity. Okay. C. Sponsor informational events open to the public which focus on his work. Okay. Well, the money's there, right? If you can't get this memorial out, why aren't we spending money on other stuff? Maybe that would actually get attention to the memorial fund, right? Let's to engage in other activities related to public education on his achievement. Bueller. And E. Establish a scholarship program in his name for students with a demonstrated need for assistance to study at an accredited college or university. Okay. Now, maybe it's just me, but if this money weren't being kept under a mattress, right? The interest that was earned could do a scholarship of $1,000 to $2,000 a year. And yes, it is small. But if you had a scholarship being done by the Gygax Memorial Fund, maybe other companies, other publishers, distributors would say, hey, we'll match that. And maybe you'd actually have a scholarship. But instead, the question is going to be asked, where is the interest? Right? There's no interest. If it's being kept under a mattress, I'd be very nervous and upset. Maybe it's being kept in a safe deposit box. Maybe Gil doesn't trust the banks. I don't know. But this issue here, you could do so much good work with even a small scholarship fund. Small one. Doesn't have to be huge. A small scholarship fund, getting the word out about the fund, about what Gary and his legacy could be about, instead of pissing away $20,000 since 1983 to 2019. What, 6 years, right? 6 years. I mean, again, unanswered questions, and it's not like you can ask anybody at the fund because the fund doesn't have an active social media presence. So, as always, more questions than answers. Folks, I really do appreciate you listening. If you like what I do, if you like these videos, I'm not talking about the quality of the videos, I'm talking about the content. The quality I know is shit. Okay? This is public broadcasting. Maybe a step above. But if you like what I do, my co-hosts do, if you enjoy it, please like, comment, and just as importantly, subscribe. Really, your help is, and your attention and your word of mouth is what helps us succeed. On that note, we are still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. I am vaccinated, but I am not a medical professional. I am not telling you what to do. Ignore the fucking talking heads on TV, on the internet. Seek, if you have questions, if you don't have if you feel unsure about what actions you should take to keep yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends protected, talk to a medical professional that you trust. And if you don't have your own, talk to a friend and get a name of some and start making a decision. All right. You know your medical situation better than anybody else. You know your risks better than anybody else. Just, make sure you're making an informed decision. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. Knock on wood. I'll be back again tomorrow. And we got Talking Crit coming up Monday night, 8 p.m. We're going back to having special guests. I believe our special guest will be Tom Wilson of the Back to Basics theme, which is currently kickstarting. So, come on. Oh, and if you'd like to leave a voicemail, it's God, what is the number actually? I'm having a brain fart. So, voicemail is 347-509-5168, or if you're listening on Anchor, you can use the Anchor app. Again, thank you so much, folks. Laters.